Amid the frigid Norwegian Sea, deep blue fjords curve like ancient carvings of ice and time. Mist shrouds the water, and a cold wind blows from the north. A school of silver salmon swam slowly through the crystal clear water. Each flick of their tails shattered the light, reflecting a brilliant orange-red hue across the icy ocean. In a place where the water temperature is only 46 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, salmon can fetch as much as $25 a pound. Because this is not just a story about price, it is a story about patience, precision, and purity. From the cold waters, the Norwegians have turned ice into gold, a gold that has the taste of the deep sea, of technology, and of belief in perfection. Go discover why Norwegian salmon is so expensive, $25 per pound, and raised in icy fjords. Snow-capped mountains and winding fjords, like ancient scars on the body of the earth, are the fjords of Norway, where ice and sea meet, where harsh conditions create one of the most stable marine environments on the planet. The water here is hundreds of feet deep, rich in oxygen, and almost never exceeds 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Too cold for humans to survive for long, but perfect for salmon to thrive. Under the deep blue water, schools of fish glide through crevices in the rocks, reflecting the Arctic light in shimmering silver streaks. On shore, small towns nestle between the mountains and the sea, where people learn to live with the wind, snow, and cold currents. The salmon's journey begins in tiny drops of fresh water. In a tightly controlled incubation room, millions of salmon eggs lie quietly in crystal clear water, illuminated by artificial light that mimics spring sunshine, even when it's snowy winter outside. Temperature, pH, oxygen levels are all continuously monitored by hundreds of sophisticated sensors. Baby salmon are born and grow up in gently circulating water. Every breath and every movement is recorded by the system. All year round, they are nurtured with absolute human precision. Every ounce of food, every minute of light is calculated to mimic nature as perfectly as possible. Then comes a special moment when their bodies start to change. It's called smoltification. the magical transition that allows salmon to adapt to saltwater. Cellular structure, respiratory mechanisms, even the way the body balances salts are all radically altered. A small error in temperature or salinity could kill millions of fragile lives. Each cage is nearly the size of a football field, holding up to 200,000 salmon swimming in pristine water. Below, cameras and AI systems monitor every movement, skin color, and behavior, sending all the data back to a control center dozens of kilometers away. The food is delivered via pneumatic tubes that run along the water surface, dropping at the right time in the right quantity without a single grain left over. Sensors measure oxygen levels, temperature, and flow in real time, ensuring the environment is always in perfect condition. Dawn rose slowly through the thick fog that blanketed the Norwegian fjord. The temperature was only a few degrees above freezing. A cold wind whipped at our faces, and the sea churned as if it would swallow the ship as it approached the pens. After 3 years of growing in the cold ocean, it's time for harvest, a moment that has been dubbed the moment of truth for the Norwegian salmon industry. Workers don waterproof jackets and thick gloves, their breath turning into white mist in the air. From the deck, high-pressure water pumps gently suck the salmon up, almost without causing any damage. The fish are immediately placed in deep-freeze tanks seconds after leaving the water to preserve their flavor and color. Offshore, winter storms were brewing, waves over 33 feet high, repeatedly battering the hull. But the work couldn't stop, because this was the one time of year when the fish were at their peak. Amid the cold wind and salty seawater, man and machine work together like a living clock, where every second carries the value of a year's work. However, animal protection organizations criticize mass harvesting as industrializing life, saying that it cannot be called humane when hundreds of thousands of creatures are ended in the same morning.
Come down to the hook a little bit.
But the Norwegians argue that this is not cruel. It is evolutionary, the only way to ensure quality, safety, and minimize suffering for each fish. Can an industry be humane, or is it just a high-tech sophistry? Whatever the answer, it is here, amid the blizzard and cold steel, that the true value of Norwegian salmon is defined, by respect for time, for life, and for the limits of human conscience. In just 1 hour, the journey across the icy ocean ends, and from that moment, a new journey begins. From the cold sea, the salmon are transported straight to a modern processing plant, where technology, temperature, and time continue to shape the value of the red gold of Northern Europe.
Come down to the hook a little bit.
Inside the factories that line the Norwegian fjords, the temperature hovers below 41 degrees Fahrenheit. The air is chilly and white lights reflect off wet, silvery steel floors, where silhouettes in white hazmat suits move in sync with the hum of air compressors and the steady trickle of running water. Every movement is ritual, quiet, precise, and disciplined. When the harvest boats dock, the airtight tanks are connected directly to the receiving system. Supervisors monitor pressure and temperature readings, ensuring the salmon are kept in cold, oxygen-rich water, reducing stress and minimizing damage. Minutes later, the fish are transported into a closed processing facility where machines and humans work together in a sterile environment. In the central processing area, automatic cutters lower at a carefully regulated pace, each blade measuring less than 0.04 inches, separating heads, removing organs, and cleaning in one continuous motion. Above, pressure sensors and optical cameras monitor each stage, while workers manually inspect each batch, ensuring that the muscle structure is not damaged. A continuous stream of cold brine washes through each fiber, preserving the characteristic pink-orange color, a color that can only be produced in cold seas. On the next conveyor belt, optical systems and artificial intelligence scan each fillet, analyzing its color, fat content, and elasticity. When a small discrepancy is detected, the quality inspector stops the line and rechecks it visually and manually. Each piece of fish has its own traceability code, so that a few days later, whether in Tokyo or New York, customers can know exactly which Norwegian fjord it was farmed and processed in. At the end of the line, a blast freezer cools the fish to -40 degrees Fahrenheit, locking in flavor and muscle fiber structure in minutes. Packers seal the product with antimicrobial film, print QR codes, and transfer it directly to a refrigerated container ready to leave the dock. The entire process, from fish leaving the ocean to packaging, takes less than an hour. many argue that the sterility and absolute precision have stripped salmon of its naturalness, that it is becoming a product of technology, not a creature of the sea. But those in the industry think otherwise. It is precisely this precision that respects nature, because there is nothing more humane than a quick, clean, and painless treatment. Between the cold steel and the sea salt, each fillet is not only a product of technology, but also a mark of Nordic discipline. Now it is ready to take its final journey to the table where taste becomes art. On the dining table, warm yellow light shone on the sashimi plate, delicately arranged like a painting. The Michelin chef in a white uniform, holding a thin and shiny Japanese knife, lightly grazed the transparent orange-red salmon. In Norway, salmon is more than just food. It's a national pride, a symbol of perfection in every detail. Every bite, every taste, tells a story of ice, sea, and waiting human hands. But when it leaves the table, what makes a pound of Norwegian salmon cost $25? The answer lies not just in the taste, but in the entire journey behind it, where technology, the environment, and global economics all come together to value the red gold of the North. A pound of Norwegian salmon costs $25, but behind that figure lies years of investment, from lab-incubated eggs to underwater sensors that monitor the environment every second, to sustainable biofuels. On screen, graphics show each cost segment: energy, operations, maintenance, genetic research, quality control, and even environmental costs, leaving no room for randomness.